The first time I met Alex, he was holding a chef's knife in one hand and a half-finished bottle of Sansera in the other, as if he couldn't decide which weapon he trusted more. We were in the test kitchen of Benson and Vale, the kind of gourmet grocery chain people wrote Yelp poems about, prepping for one of Richard Benson's infamous media tastings. Richard, the VP himself, liked to cook for these things, though I was sure it was more theater than passion. I was already dicing fennel when Alex walked in, crooked smile and all. "You mince like you mean it," he said, nodding at my cutting. "Bored. Better than I flirt," I answered without looking up. Richard laughed. "That's Ember, our rising star." "Careful, Alex, she'll talk you into irrelevance." That's how I learned he was Richard's nephew, drafted in from marketing whenever they needed extra hands. He wasn't supposed to belong in a kitchen, but those hands knew their way around one. Hours later, when the last guest had drifted, home and the lights dimmed to a honeyed glow, Alex and I clinked glasses over the scraps of a goat cheese tart. "You really love this, don't you?" He asked. "What goat cheese? No feeding people." Making something that makes them stop mid-sentence. The way he said it caught me off guard, but he was right. I did love it. I always had. 3 months later, we were dating. 6 months. After that, engaged. A year in, married on a bluff overlooking the Sound. Richard giving a toast that left me wiping mascara from my cheeks with a cocktail napkin. At the reception, Alex leaned in close, his lips brushing my ear. "You know what I'm most looking forward to?" "What?" "You cooking for me every day for the rest of my life." God, I was incandescently happy. We bought a sleek condo in Fremont open shelves. Copper pans, spices alphabetized to the letter. My kitchen, my sanctuary. Alex devoured everything I made, licking the plates clean, telling me he was the luckiest man alive. That lasted about 6 months until the call came. "She's been alone since Dad passed," Alex said, sitting on the edge of our bed, phone still warm in his hand. "Mom wants us to move in for a while, just until she adjusts." I blinked. It's been almost 2 years. She's lonely. I should have said no. Should have drawn the line. Newlyweds need boundaries, space. But I didn't want to be the woman who took him away from his mother. So I agreed. Sharon's house in Magnolia was flawless. The kind of craftsman that belonged in magazines. Not a fingerprint on the appliances, not a rug out of place. She greeted me with a smile that never touched her eyes. Perfume clinging like armor. "I've heard so much about you," she said, squeezing my arms as though she was measuring me against some invisible standard. "And your cooking. Alex says you're quite the chef." I laughed softly. "I love to feed people." "Wonderful," she replied, still smiling. "I look forward to seeing what you can do." At first, it was civil. I worked remotely, cooked dinners. Sharon managed the house with military precision, and Alex relaxed in the comfort of childhood walls. But then came the first job. I'd made lemon chicken with couscous and roasted carrots. Sharon dabbed her lips with a napkin after one bite. "Well," she said, "that's zesty. Too much lemon?" I asked. "It's just an unexpected choice." She set her fork down. "When I make chicken, it doesn't fight back." Alex chuckled nervously. Didn't defend me. Didn't stop her. And so it began. The jabs multiplied. Wrapped in sugar, delivered with a smile. "No one expects gourmet on a Tuesday, dear. My lasagna doesn't collapse like that in the middle. Maybe next time boil the pasta first." Always framed as helpful advice. Always eroding me in front of him. I told Alex, gently at first. "She's undermining me. She's old school." He shrugged. "It's not personal, but it was." I saw it in her eyes. She knew exactly what she was doing. It all shattered one Thursday. I had spent hours braising short ribs and red wine, the kitchen filled with garlic and thyme. The table gleamed, the plates perfect. Sharon lifted her fork, sniffed and wrinkled. Her nose. God, she said. This smells like something you'd feed a dog. The words hit harder than thunder. I froze. Alex's fork hovered. He looked at me, then at her, and said nothing. She pushed her plate away with 2 fingers. I can't. It's just too heavy. I stood, cleared my plate, and walked out without a word. That night, I slept on the couch. In the morning, Sharon smiled sweetly, sliding a plate of toast toward me. You're just so sensitive, she cooed. That was when I understood. She wasn't critiquing. She was competing. Every dish I made was a battle. Every compliment from Alex was a win she couldn't tolerate. 1 week later, Alex came in with an idea. She's turning 60. I want to throw her a dinner party. Something nice, low-key. And you want me to cook? He nodded. She appreciated it. I smiled. Not the smile of excitement. The smile of someone sharpening knives. The invitation was simple. A handwritten note tucked between linen napkins. Dinner for Sharon. 60 years of grace. That week, I planned like it was war. Not poison, not theatrics, just perfection. French textbooks spread across the counter, menus chosen with surgical precision. I wasn't out to dazzle. I was out to silence. Thursday night, Alex found me stirring a pot of tomato confit. He leaned in the doorway, watching me like a soldier afraid to enter the battlefield. You're going all out? He said. I stirred, slow and calm, just keeping it simple. Don't want her thinking I'm showing off. He hesitated. Thanks for doing this. I know things have been tense, I thought. The word was laughable. Sharon's night arrived with a golden sunset spilling through the dining room. The table glowed with eucalyptus garlands, antique plates, candles flickering. It was beautiful. It was worthy. Her family gathered cousins. Richard fresh from Montreal, and Sharon herself in beige and pearls, surveying the table like a queen inspecting her court. Richard kissed my cheek at the door. You've outdone yourself already, he whispered. Sharon sat at the head, lips pursed. I plated the first dish in silence, roasted beet and shaver tartlets. I announced softly, setting the plate in front of her. And the battle began. The saffron risotto came out next. Glossy grains carrying the perfume of the sea, crowned with tender scallops. Then the finale, duck à l'orange, nestled beside confit shallots and charred broccolini. For a moment, the dining room filled with quiet awe. Polite murmurs turned into genuine praise. Cousins leaned in for seconds. Even Richard gave me a discreet thumbs up. Everyone, it seemed, was pleased. Everyone except Sharon. She didn't eat. She didn't even lift her fork. Instead, she stared at her plate like it had personally offended her. Then, slowly, she turned toward me. The smile she wore wasn't kindness. It was a weapon dipped in lipstick. I have to say, she began, voice pitched just loud enough to hush the table. This smells familiar. Almost like the canned dog food my neighbor buys. Fancy label. Sure, but still garbage once you open it. A ripple of silence spread across the table. I didn't flinch. Didn't move. Richard's fork froze mid-cut. Alex cleared his throat, his voice cracking. Mom, no. Sharon's grin widened. I'm just saying it's impressive how Ember manages to disguise mediocrity in such lovely presentation. I sipped my wine, eyes steady. I appreciate your feedback, as always. Her smile faltered. That wasn't the reaction she wanted. The silence grew heavy until Richard spoke, his tone deceptively calm. Actually, Sharon, he said, placing his fork down, that's funny. Swept the table before landing on her. Because I made this meal. The room went still. Sharon's face twitched. I'm sorry, what? I cooked it, Richard repeated, every dish. Ember and I prepped together, but the hands behind the stove? Mine. The words landed like glass shattering. Color drained from Sharon's face, replaced with blotchy pink. Alex's expression shifted from confusion to embarrassment to guilt. You mean, Sharon stammered, you mean I just insulted my own son's food? Richard's voice stayed level, almost too calm. The same duck I used to serve clients in Marseille. The same risotto recipe, culinary trade, monthly published. Yes, that dog food. No one dared to move. Even the candles seemed to flicker quieter. Richard folded his napkin slowly, deliberately. I've been watching, he said softly. How you treat her, how Alex lets it slide. His eyes cut toward my husband. And frankly, I'm disgusted. Sharon shrank into her chair. Richard, I brought Ember into this family. I endorsed her, and you repay that by belittling her, undermining her work, her gift. His voice hardened. For what? To feel powerful again? She stayed silent. I knew you'd lash out tonight, Richard said. That's why I cooked. To prove it isn't the food you hate, it's her, and that makes you the problem. The table broke. Sharon shoved her chair back, storming away without touching her wine. Alex trailed after her, muttering apologies no one asked for. Richard ended dinner early with a quiet clink of his glass. Hours later, Alex returned, looking 10 years older. She's upset, he muttered. She says she didn't know it was a joke. I laughed, sharp and humorless. She's been joking for months. I thought. Alex rubbed his face. If I didn't take sides, she'd ease up. Calm. Down, I turned to him. But you did pick a side, Alex. Neutrality is complicity. His eyes darted away. I defended you, he said weakly. Just not in front of her. That was all I needed to hear. I'm moving into a short-term rental next week. He stared, stricken. You're leaving? I'm taking space. What about us? I held his gaze. What about me? He had no answer. Later, Richard texted me. You handled that with more dignity than I ever could. If you need anything, business or otherwise, you have my support. Proud of you. I read it 3 times before the tears finally came. 3 weeks. Later, I was in my own small rental. Queen Anne, boxy, quiet, mine. I brought only the essentials, my knives, my spices, 2 cast iron pans. When you leave in silence, you don't pack heavy. Alex texted often, thinking of you. Mom's asking how you are. Can we talk? I rarely answered, not because I hated him, but because love, when left undefended, dissolves. One silence at a time.